Welcome to Happily Divorced with Karishma. If you're the strong one, the leader, the responsible one in your family or in your relationships, this episode is for you. Because underneath the fixing, managing, advising, there may be something else driving you. Fear, attachment, control. Today I'm sharing a very personal experience on how I lost my peace over situations that never were really mine to carry, and how I'm learning to take my power back. Let's begin. Hello, friends. It's really interesting because I'd recorded this entire episode yesterday, but clearly the universe had other plans for me, and I guess I needed to hear myself speaking to me one more time around what I intended to share. You know, it's been an interesting journey and always interesting week. There's always something going on and some epiphanies, some instances that are happening, and it's all happening for us. All of these supposed challenges, supposed things that are happening, specifically the ones that feel tumultuous, are really there to help us align deeply to ourselves and to help us see who we really are in the midst of life's challenges. My mentor said something yesterday morning, and it triggered the living daylights out of me, and I wanted to share it with you, not with the intention to trigger you, although it might very well trigger you, but I just wanted to share this with you and really go deeper into what was sort of happening within me yesterday. So my mentor mentioned yesterday morning around the lines of often when we want to help someone, underneath that helping that person, there is a desire that is really about helping ourselves. And I'm going to go deeper into this. So let's say that you are helping a friend out. Let's say you've got a partner, a spouse that's struggling with a business or a career thing, and you're helping them out and you're advising them, you're supporting them, or friend, right? Insert friend, insert child with challenges, insert teenager with stuff, right? Whatever it is. And they're going through something. It's really not about just helping them. But for most of us, there's some underlying motivation that is really about us. So in the example of the partner friend that's struggling with a business career transition, the bottom line is it feels chaotic. The bottom line is it evokes something within us that feels unsafe. The bottom line is, if our children are struggling with something, the bottom line is that it evokes a sense of our worthiness, our inadequacies as a parent, maybe really becoming entangled with that problem completely, where you lose your peace and it's almost like you need to resolve that thing, not just to help that person, but to come back to peace within yourself. And hopefully you're tracking me. In the event of helping a loved one with health, it's not that you're really helping them with health. What's really driving you is a deep fear of what's happening within them. And are you going to lose them? Or are they going to be unhealthy? Are they going to have some debilitating life situation and so forth? So I hope you can see on some level there's this desire to help and to change and to fix and to support and to make better or to change someone. And specifically those people in our lives. And, I have a feeling that most of my listeners are people just like me that have been overly responsible, the one to get things done, the one who's managing the household things and the glue between all the family situations and circumstances, but really the glue, the driver, the leader, right? And for those of you that are like me, we tend to get really entangled in these things. We really kind of make these struggles ours that aren't even ours. And underneath it all, if we're really being honest with ourselves, there is a desire to change the things so that we feel better, so that we have harmony within ourselves, so we don't have to face that yuckiness inside of us, whether it's unworthiness, whether it's failure, whether it's inadequacy, whether it's something else. And that's what I'm talking about today, where specifically those challenges where we tend to lose who we really are and get wrapped up in situations that aren't ours. And we tend to lose our peace in all of these things. And that's what I wanted to explore today. So when my mentor was talking about taking things on and this like almost selfish thing that's happening underneath it, it really triggered the living daylights out of me. And with regards to my specific situation and just in the spirit of vulnerability and honesty, I am navigating a long distance relationship and have been for 3 years. And there's kids involved. And sometimes things are easier with children. Sometimes they're harder with children. My partner and I both have young teenagers, and life happens. And sometimes those challenges happen. But I tend to be the person that really will go on and on and on and ruminate about that situation. Yesterday, I was just thinking about how some of these things that happen are completely out of my control. It's specifically with regard to my partner that is 300 miles away, with things in his household that really aren't even mine. I tend to make them mine, and I tend to get really entangled in the outcome, and then I lose my peace. What I've learned over time is the loss of peace is when we're really attached to an outcome. When we really get entangled in things that aren't ours, it's because we're attached to an outcome. And on some level, on an egoic level, we personalize it and we make it ours when it has nothing to do with us. But those things are happening to trigger something within us that needs to be resolved, that needs to be seen, that needs to be loved, that needs to be accepted and understood. I was with that message from my mentor, and I was like, wow, there's so many instances in my life where I give my power away, where I get worked up in some attachment to an outcome that isn't even mine, right? I might see my kids struggling. My daughter was struggling with one of her friends not too long ago that was cutting herself. And it's devastating. It's devastating to see, your child affected by something like that. It's devastating for her to experience her friend suffering like that, right? So, she's experiencing it all. And it was hard for me. And it made me lose a sense of my peace. It made me lose a sense of my calm. Just recently, something else happened that felt really chaotic in the household. And it made me want to run away. It made me want to hide. It made me want to really put my head under a pillow. And I've shared on my podcast here about my experiences in loving someone who was an alcoholic and who had, experienced active alcoholism in her life through a loved one. And the chaos in this situation actually took me back to nearly 13, 14 years ago during the throes of active alcoholism, and it triggered a lack of safety within myself that had nothing to do with the 2026 version of what was happening, but had everything to do with what had happened in the past. And that feeling of overwhelm, that feeling of overly being responsible for someone else's life, and again, I made it my responsibility, right? God didn't make it my responsibility. God was taking care of it, but I felt like I needed to control the situation so that I could feel safe, so I could get sleep, so I could feel calm, so I could let go of anxiety. And that was a big thing for me. So it was just interesting when these things come up within you to really see the lesson underneath what's happening. And, it's really easy to get caught up on an emotional level, a mental level, and to get wrapped up in what is. But I'm noticing that nothing is what seems to be what it is, that there's some deeper meaning, there's some deeper connection, there's some deeper lesson that's unfolding for me to come back to loving myself, to honoring myself, for me to have compassion for that part of me that experienced that massive overwhelm, for me to have that compassion for me that lived through active alcoholism, for me to have compassion with me, to feel like she had to be the one taking care of everything and everyone, that feels like she has to figure everything out and do it alone, when the truth is I'm not alone and there is a bigger plan unfolding. And if I truly believe in God, if I truly believe in something outside of me, higher power, God, universe, source, whatever the word might be for you, if I truly trusted in that source, that was the source of everything, and that it had nothing to do with my controlling it or not controlling it, that it was just what was happening, how much peace do I find within myself when I start letting go of this over-identification and this overly sense of attachment? And that's what I'm talking about here. And my friend shared this with me. We reconnected with this friend after a year yesterday. She was one of my mentors early in my Al-Anon journey, and she shared with me, she said, Karishma, imagine your life is like the panes of a window, and you've got multiple panes of a window. And when you're in despair, when you're in chaos, when you're in overwhelm, we take that one problem, it's really one pane, but that pane is given so much power, it literally discolors every other pane in the window. And before you know it, your entire identity, your entire worth, your entire sense of peace, your entire sense of calm, it all is about one part of your life, one pane of your window, but you've given it so much power that it's discolored and tainted everything else. But then as you start seeing the perspective of it just being a part of you, one part of you that isn't even about you, that isn't your identity, that isn't tied to your worth, that isn't tied to your value, that is tied to nothing within you. And you start sort of detaching, just sort of seeing it like, okay, this is happening. And it means nothing about me. I'm giving it all of my power. I'm giving it all of my attention. I'm giving it so much of my focus to the point where I lose who I am. I lose my joy. I lose my belonging. I lose my confidence. I lose my worth. I lose my health. I lose my relationships. I lose my inner peace because of one part of my life. But it's not even who I really am. And then as we start embodying that truth, and start seeing it for what it is, just an isolated blip in the grand scheme of things, we can start coming back to our peace, coming back to ourselves, coming back to harmony within ourselves. And pretty soon we're able to see all the other panes of the window. And now, because that discoloration has faded, because that power has faded on every other aspect of our life, now the sun can shine through and permeate your being, and you can start seeing yourself as that light. You can start seeing yourself as that love. You can see yourself as that radiance because it was always there. You gave your power away. And for me, how do I get my power back specifically? It's what I mentioned a moment ago. To give myself that love, that grace, that compassion. You know, one of the things when my clients tell me they're struggling with something, I literally have them take out a mirror and literally, and not for the premise of vanity, actually keep a small little Walmart mirror here that I bought for $5 a few years ago. And when those things are coming up, I literally have them pull out the mirror and I have them say to themselves exactly what they want someone else to tell them, exactly what they need to hear from someone else to feel at peace, to feel in alignment, to feel calm, to feel that surrender, to feel that grace. And in moments in your life when you find yourself struggling and something is costing you your peace, your joy, your serenity, your worth, your confidence, I encourage you to pull out your mirror and just really speak to yourself what you want to hear from someone else or something else. And say it to you, looking back at you, looking into your own eyes, hearing the power of your voice, speaking right directly to your soul, and just coming back to alignment within yourself. And the truth is, who we are is infinite. Who we are is a soul. We're a soul that's infinite, having a human experience. And we give all our power to our humanity. And often we give our power to someone else, situation, circumstance, place outside of ourselves, and we lose who we are. But the truth is, who we really are is a soul. And none of these things have power over us. And nothing that's happening on a human level is actually going to affect us on an infinity level. And yet we just give so much power away. And we lose the joy in everyday life. We lose the peace in everyday life. We lose the gift in our everyday life, which is simply to be present. To simply be present within ourselves. To simply connect with that love within ourselves. To give ourselves that love. Because the only person who can give you that love is you. And the only person that you can truly receive that love from is you. So my friends, today, you are enough. You are worthy. And I'm grateful to be here. Thank you.